no sugar. That's sweet as hell. Sugar, I'm gonna pull that window pop out. Thank you. I'm closing it. It's cool. Way more, huh? Damn Timberlands off. Well, Timberlands got my feet like I'm in the trenches. Put them up for me, Bubba. You like to play with them? Put them up. I'll put them up. Was up here before I got up and go live, chilling up beside me for like a half hour. Come on, huh? Yeah, you. Now see, now you want to stand up on me, huh? I'm going to the laser light and have you run up and down the wall. Don't show on the. And they got the nerve to look at me. Thank you. You want cash? Bring it home. Yo, what's happening, man? What's happening? What's happening? Sadly, I have to run. I'm not buying it. I got to run back out, and I'm really not feeling it. You know what I mean? So I want to sit up here and watch all Planet of the Apes. I've been listening to music and reading. I want to sit back and watch an old 1965 before I was born, and while I was born, Planet of the Apes, the whole thing. I'm talking about the original, not the Mark Wahlberg and the other goofy. All right, they're all right, but not for me. Back to charcoal and lime. Oh. Whew. Put that on 7. So what's cracking? Hey, Mikey Hill. I thought Ronald was in the house. What's cracking, brother? Excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and start reading because I want to read not a lot, but you know how it is when we get to heaven bearers. And hang in there, guys. I mean, it's like I said, it's always tea. The funny thing is, two people hit me up and they shared some stuff to me, right? And they were more than aware that they come over here and watch my stuff, get the information, and do the research. And I'm gonna share this with everybody that come in here. If I share something and you do the research and you find some information, build on it. Just share it. Yo, Ronald, what's going on, family? Just share it. It's all right. If you want to go there and say, I got this by way of Red Wolf, the home of the shoulder, James Lucifer Wooten Branch, or AKA Jim Red Wolf. If you want to do that, that's fine. To get more people to come over, and that way I can get the numbers to where I can tell this damn story. Now I can get the numbers. I can, and some are starting to think that I've changed my game up. Of course not. I just feel like I did what I did because I know I could draw some people in. But at the same time, I didn't go off the fajita because there are some bylines. You know what I'm saying? And I got to stick to them regardless of, where my stance is on certain things. It's not for me to manipulate people's minds and then make them believe that I trimmed up. So, but I'm still gonna shave it off. I just wanted to trim it up and see how it feels. And my beard's like a dang porcupine, when I shave off, so. But anyway, I don't want to be gimmicky. I just don't want to be gimmicky. Me being of the old world, me being afforded to know so much, and yet I always express that I don't know hardly nothing, and it's the truth. Do I believe that there are lizard people walking around? I believe there's an existence of a number of different things that most people aren't in tune or entitled to, that are in hiding for a reason. But because so many of our people in ignorance have chose a different nomenclature, a label, a title that doesn't really apply to really anybody, the enemy runs with it. It's like the congresswoman in New York, what's her name, who wants to push forward this thing for a tax instead of 2 cents around 5 cents. First of all, taxation without representation. And who is she representing? Because there's a lot of people in New York who are just starting to get their concealed weapons permit. Because, like I told people in Jersey, a whole bunch of Pelskins get it, but a handful of Spanish, if you own a business, a lot of Asians get it, but brothers and sisters who are legitimate don't, because Millville and Bondland, Mayor Robert Romano, who was the mayor at one time, is a good friend of mine. He actually married me and my ex-wife, who I still cordially have a conversation with, because, she wasn't a bad person. She went through a lot bad in her life. And I said to him, you were a police officer, and we used to talk, because I used to do the cultural affairs and the car shows, and I would go out there and break stacks of pencils and break breakable boards, which most people couldn't even break 3. I was breaking 6, jacking my hand up a little bit, but like I said, formidable spirit is part of the Taekwondo thing. And then the fact that I could do splits and kick straight up and all that, I'm not doing that now. And that was like when I was 48 years old, you know what I'm saying? Like 47. No, it took me 9 months to become a Saban. I'm a black belt first Dan. It took me 2 more months under the tutelage of an ex-Rock Marine from the Korean War to get my 2nd and 3rd Dan. And I had to do some pretty crazy, extensive, because I could flip and all that. But anywho, I said to him, I says, why is the police department so friggin' racist on my ancestral land? He wouldn't even question it. He just, it's the way they're, the way they're raised. And I says, yeah, and I've always knew the word raise means to tear. I'm going to raise that building, tear it down. I'm going to raise, and I was like, yeah, you're right, torn down. And they continue in these liberal states to push this. I'm so poetically nice and wonderful, and we're going to do this for the benefit. No, what they're afraid of is the fact that they've allowed policy enforcers who are not the law. These people you call police are not the law, nor do they uphold it. Okay? They're criminal the moment they put on that costume, because they're not being taught appropriately, and they're not furthering their studies to be better representatives to protect. Now, there are people who go out there and put that costume on, and their whole vital mission is to be protective and to save lives. And mistakes are made, but the mistakes of lately have been shown more. It's showing that they're more perverse. But I believe some of the people who are doing what they're doing, they're antagonists, and they were put there for this time. So, like the 5 who beat the young man 140 pounds up and killed him, them niggas is no good. I guarantee you they're Masonic. Some of them may be ex-military, but I guarantee you they had marching orders. And their thing was to go out there and hurt somebody. And it was innocence. Okay? Just like them guys in pale skins shot the 100 rounds into the vehicle, but the brother survived. Not the other one with the 90 shots. And both of them unarmed and both of them practically innocent. Do you see what I'm saying? And then you look at the sister who was roughhoused. I think she won an $8 million lawsuit. And they're going to name states and stuff. And it's behemoth. It's the same thing over and over. You know, it's like California's on the limelight because they're seeing how perverse certain individuals are. And then you have cartels on the police department. People who work with the cartels in the police department. It's not like the feds don't know. The department of the DOJ is far from what it claims to be. It is agenda filled. It has the right people in the position. And I always say this, and it's real simple. It's not complicated. This is what boggles my mind with so many of these. It's the pale skins that have this privilege. They don't think they have a privilege. And the privilege don't mean that it's antiquated. It doesn't mean that it's all right. We see it as a bunch of boo-ha-ha. We see it that it shows that they're stupid because they can't even take that and do the right thing with it. But you see a system that if they take a pledge, they take a swear to an oath, and they don't uphold it, they're supposed to be removed. The problem is, we got all these individuals that are very questionable. And some I've been watching for a long time, and I've started to question them. What is your whole line? What is your spew? Because you're beating around the bush as if you're some kind of attorney, and you're not. And yet you're not talking about the situation at hand. Did they not take a note? We can cry it all day, but who is going to hold the city, the council, and everybody accountable? And you know what they say? Well, we'll vote them out next term. No, they need to be removed right now. And the only people that can remove it are the people that put them in there. They say, but it takes an act of Congress. Congress ain't nobody without the people. See, this is what amazes me about all these individuals that run along, look, there are places in Canada and the Philippines and certain countries, they're chopping down these cameras. They're going out there with them concrete saws, and they got like 12 or 20 of them chopping them all down. They can't even put them up fast enough. They're just cutting them down. They don't care if one get caught, they got 3 more that go out and cut them down. Them towers with these repeaters on them, blowing them up. And what are we doing? Oh, the most powerful people, the most righteous people, blah, 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 blah. You remember when they murdered, the FY murdered them, the family of Muslims? What were they called? Back in the 60s, 70s, whatever. 70s, they went in there and they murdered the whole family, drowned 4 babies, shot one in the head, and killed the adults, 7 of them, I think. See, we have this predicament of this situation that we don't have to be in. But because our people believe that because it took so long to get here, and it didn't take long at all to get to where we're at, that we cannot change this course, that we can't reverse. You see what I'm saying? We are the only ones. Young man was arrested, and it's this Negro sergeant, and because he didn't put his finger on it, he's community watch. He's been doing this for a long time. His family and people walk around with guns because a little girl just got murdered and another guy got killed, right? So they arrest him. And you know the charges? It's 2 of them. They always got to put some damn charges. This is why I say that correcting the status, if you're going to live in that world and you're going to work these jobs and you're going to abide by the Social Security and all that other stuff, driver's license, identification, if you're going to abide by that, then you are a Terry. For a Terry stop, and you are a citizen of a corporation that is based on a Dead Sea law, a meritorious, you know what I'm talking about. And these idiots who are doing what they're doing don't even know no better. They don't even know what they're doing. You dig what I'm saying? And you would think that they know better, and they don't. They don't even want to, you can't even talk to them because it's all emotional. It's not professional. They believe the costume exudes authority. No, it doesn't. And see, that's what people have a hard time understanding. That costume don't mean crap to those that it has been used against. And see, when the people become focused, because they are, and I mean more so than what they are right now, I just want the most righteous people to come into the fold. And they're not going to have a standing chance in the world. They're going to run. They're going to be in the car. I didn't know. And they're going to be doing all that stuff. They think they're Billy Butts. They go in the gym. They're all together. They little tiny testosterone. Most of them on TRT. And they're walking around and they're juking people up who are in fear, who feel at loss. People, when they are in fear and they feel hopeless, tend to respond like such until they've had enough, but then they don't have the training, they don't have the knowledge, they're closed, there's a fog in there, and so they react in a way that can be dealt with. Now, there are those idiots out there who want to test that. I would advise them not to. Like I always tell people, I am not violent, I am not a murderer, but I will kill you. I have no emotions bound to it, no feelings, no nothing. I am not a violent person. I don't like violence. I don't want to harm. I will never do that, but I will kill you. And I'm talking about in a way that has nothing to do. And that's an old saying too, a very lucrative one by a certain general of the Army and the Marine Corps. You know, they have this little movie out there with what's his name? Taken, Nielsen, whatever, English actor. Now have a set of skills. No, it's not even about a set of skills because they won't be able to interpret what I'm saying. The reality is they have these meetings, they have these little get-togethers, and certain people are selected who are part of the demographic of this little secret group. They go out here and they do things just like the people they used to steal and murder for their organs. A network. And you never saw nothing come of it. But it's well known what was happening. See, they believe that energy has not been given to those of us who are in the know and that we don't know how to utilize it. See, that is their most formidable mistake. I'm going to go ahead and start reading. Okay? And we're not going to read for a long time. And, something to think about. You dig what I'm saying? It's something to think about. So I'm going to read the Hatha material, Messages from an Ascended Civilization. I'm going to read chapter 1. I'm not going to go through all the introduction and all that unnecessary. I can read that to you at the end to give you it's best usually to do it at the beginning, but no, I can read this one at the end just to give you a little more recap. Chapter 1, who we are and why we have come. Now, this is by Tom Kenyon and Virginia Essence. Is this fantasy and fiction? No. I would like to say it is. I've read everything, looked for all that. No. I went through the acknowledgments, the introductions by Tom. I read every bit of it by Virginia, the introduction by Virginia. I'm just going to get into it, and you just pick up the little tea here and there. We are the Hathors. We come in love. And I want you to think about something also when I get to this. The man who crossed the ice walls, the woman from the, born across the ice walls, and the men and the land of Mars. I want you to remember the Anakin. We're already reading about the Anunnaki, the custodians. I've got tons of literature on this stuff, okay? And then let me read. Anybody making any comments before I get started? And I said, hey, Mikey Hill, Rondo, Stone Beloved Brother, Black White Indian, Black Wild Indian, what's cracking? Salute. Mikey Hill, yes, sir. Hey, Sue, what's going on, baby girl? How you doing? Yeah, all right. Hey, Malik Jones, what's correct? Receive my heaven bearers, navigate who cross the ice walls and the Iron Republic. Awesome. Freaking yeah. That's what's up. And I'm gonna read them again. So now you'll have some, you know what I mean? I'll be reading them for third or fourth times. I don't know. Land of Mars, boom, Terra Infinita, extra. That's it. Navigate across the wall. Yep. Awesome. Supposed to be coming out with a fourth and fifth, but hopefully he gives me the shuttle like he said he would. Stole from the people. Yes. Let's go ahead and get into this reading because I really got to run out too. So, chapter 1, who we are and why we have come. We are the Hathors. We come in love and with the sounding of a new dream reality for your earth. The sounding doesn't necessarily mean words. We must remember, all right? We must always remember when we read things, we don't misinterpret, all right? So, again, and with the sounding of a new dream reality for your earth. If you are ready to build a new world, we invite you to join us on a journey of the mind and heart. We are your elder brothers and sisters. It has nothing to do with the physical world we see because it was destroyed. Now pay attention. We have been with you for a very long period of your evolution on this planet. We were with you in eons past, even in the forgotten days before any trace of us is known in your present written history. Our own nature is energetic and interdimensional. We originally came from another universe by way of Sirius, which is a portal to your universe, so it's another land. You must pay attention to these words. And from Sirius, we eventually proceeded to your solar system and the etheric realms of Venus. Etheric. Solar system, what is it? I keep telling you, solar system. Solar ergo system. Check it out now. In the past, we have specifically worked with and through the Hathor fertility goddess of ancient Egypt. An editor's notice states, for the sake of clarity, we will use the spelling Hathor exclusively for the Egyptian goddess and the spelling Hathor for those ascended beings referred to in the book, okay? We also made contact with the Tibetan Lamas in the formative period of Tibetan Buddhism. Thus, some of their unique techniques and practices about the use of sound come from our own lineage and our teachings with them. Although we have interacted with some of Earth's early cultures, we are an intergalactic civilization with potposts that span parts of your known universe and beyond. We are what you might term as ascended civilization, a group of beings existing at a specific vibratory field. So, interdimensional. When I say universe, does it mean a plane of existence which you cannot see because those exercises aren't taking place? The toxic foods and everything keep you from it? Now, the perversions believe they can see all this. No, they're attempting to manipulate and conquer. I am telling you, you can vibe on a higher level. That is what this is alluding to. Pay attention. So when we hear solar system, we think right off the back. It doesn't, well, we don't think it, but in our head, because of how we've been indoctrinated, sci-fi. Those are the catch-22s. Those are the misnomers. That is the misdirection. That is non-forgiving what they did by utilizing that stuff to have us believing when actually it's right here. We just have to be able to see it. Even as you have an energy signature, okay, pay attention. It is simply that we vibrate at a faster rate than you. Nonetheless, we are all part of the mystery, part of the love that holds and binds all the universe together. Now, who remembers watching a movie where you couldn't see them because they vibrated so fast, but they were right there and they could slow it down when they wanted to, but they vibrate naturally at a higher frequency, so you can't see them, and so they see us moving very slow. Time, that is the difference. And when you think about the Anakim and the ancestral lands and all that, that time is different because we move at a pace that is terrible, not at the pace we're meant to. We must elevate to illuminate. Okay, we have grown as you have grown, ascending to the one source of all that is. We have grown in joy and through sorrow, as have you. We are, in terms of the vastness, a little higher on the spiritual spiral of awareness and consciousness than you are, just a little. Therefore, we can offer you what we have learned as friends, mentors, and fellow travelers on the path that leads back to remembrance of all that is. We are in a great period of healing at all levels of this local solar system and in all kingdoms, not just human. And yet you humans hold a key for the evolution and the ascension of your planet Earth. That key, excuse me. I got a lot of markings on here. My apologies, people. That key requires free will of choice, and what you humans choose or do not choose affects many kingdoms in this world. You are poised at a momentous time in the history of consciousness on this planet. Something is occurring that has never occurred before, and it is a joy and a kind of ecstasy for us to participate with you once again and to come into your consciousness awareness. For the last time we were together consciously was in ancient Egypt. Egyptian history holds few clues to our existence, our motives, our physical description. However, there are carvings left behind from the temples of Hathor that show our likenesses. A photograph of one such carving appears twice in this book and may serve as a remembrance for some of you. I'm gonna leave right there. When I say I've got this book marked up, I'm not playing. I get like that sometimes. I get a little careless, okay? It happens. Seriously, y'all. You ought to see what I'm writing as far as my screen write. That's my college stuff. All right. I wanted to read that a little bit. I figured it may be good. Did somebody just donate something? I appreciate you. Thank you. I didn't see a name or someone just give me a little thing at the top. It didn't come all the way down. Appreciate the DNA of the gods, the Anunnaki, creation of Eve, and the alien battle for humanity. I just found out. If you want to super chat, it's fine. They do it like in 2 or 3 days. It is put into what revenue may be. I just broke 100 like a week ago, so I might start getting some, but that I'll share with you guys because I'm not here for the bag. I am here literally to get some of the greatest books while it's still possible, while these banks are collapsing. I'm gonna do a podcast on that. I figured that'd be very important to have that communicate as far as whatever information out there. But I really want to get some real good books, so we can bind the time. And if not, if y'all ever find your way here and things SHTF, then together on the nights when we be calm, and I can read and I can tell stories, and I can keep or attempt to keep everybody with a grand spirit. All right. Anyway. And the alien battle for humanity. Chris H. Hardy. Y'all know I'm not doing the PDD thing. I just can't. Okay. All right. Who really were our gods? Hmm. Anyway, who really were our gods? Let me make sure. Okay, no, I'm actually over here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Because I was where we left. Excuse me. The Igigi decided to follow examples of Marduk. Remember, I was reading this, and they took the occasion of a great feast on earth to which they were invited. Okay, and we got over to this is where we love. And the Lord said, I will destroy the earthling whom I have created off the face of the earth. Now, that comes from this part right here. The Sumerian texts tell us that as the land extended and the people multiplied, Enlil became increasingly disturbed by mankind's pronouncements and its infatuation with sex and lust. That sounds like Lot, Sodom and Gomorrah and Nineveh. Well, it was the whole earth. The get-togethers between the Anunnaki and the daughters of men caused him to lose sleep. And the Lord said, I will destroy the earthling whom I have created off the face of the earth. A different Lord. Remember, I wrote that down, the etymology. check this out, follow 3 attempts on the part of Enlil to get rid of humanity. The first one by biological agents, the second through drought and starvation, and both failed by virtue of the intervention of Enki. Undeterred, Enlil, more furious than ever, planned to achieve the complete annihilation of the primitive workers, or Lulus, of all mankind. At the next perigee of Nibiru, because some scientists had calculated that the planet would pass so close to Earth, anyway, as to create a massive, I'm going to start blotting certain things out and reinterpreting because we know a difference. Anyway, create a massive gravitational pull, there's no such thing as gravity, which in turn would generate a giant tsunami. If you're going to hear that and it's going to condition you to believe in it, I'm going to tell you the opposite. Tsunami wave, and that this deluge would, in all probability, erase all life and construction on Earth. Already they were observing a warning of the outer planets, which Nibiru's orbit was starting to cross, and also of Earth, as well as a destabilization of the ice cap in Antarctica. The Anunnaki were getting ready to save their own lives. Now, in the other books of Anunnaki, the Earth is flat, so just remember that, all right? Pause for the cause. Okay, the Anunnaki were getting ready to save their own lives, and Enlil had offered them to either go back on Nibiru or else orbit around the Earth during the cataclysm. At that point, Enlil assembled the royal family and made them swear to not disclose the fact of the coming cataclysm to the Earthlings. And he used all the power of his function as legal heir and king of heaven and earth to force especially his half-brother Enki and his sister Nimna to be bound by an oath. Enki, as hard as he tried to avoid it, was forced to give his word. Then, bound by his oath, but nevertheless intent on saving the seed of humanity, he will find a way to warn his beloved blood son Zusudra, Noah, the one earthling who was the marvel of a new generation, the exceedingly wise, or Atra Hasis. Who really were our gods? Reading through the many tablets, and people read this stuff and they take it to heart. That's why you have a lot of things going on out here in fanatics. Satanism, Luciferianism, without knowing there's over 6,700 and something names to this one false god. Okay? And that's another topic. Reading through the many tablets and the exceptional work of Zechariah Sitchin to assemble a multitude of books into a coherent picture of the eons during which Earth and then mankind were governed by the Anunnaki gods, we are confronted with a stupendous realization, one that our Judeo-Christian heritage has rendered the least probable of ever crossing our mind, that the Anunnaki gods, our gods, the ones who created us by genetic engineering using their own genes, were themselves a human race, only that they were far more advanced scientifically, and furthermore, they were quasi-immortals. Indeed, there is no mistaking the very human traits in their not very refined psyche. And we have seen the whole gamut of our worst psychological and social traits, exemplified by one Anunnaki or the other. Whether woman or men, in brief, it was commonplace among the Anunnaki royals to infringe on the rules and taboos of their own society and to violate its most sacred rules. But what they permitted themselves to do, and the more high their status to, the more so is beyond what we, as a people, used to social laws for ages, can understand and conceive, especially from the part, I think this was supposed to be a space there, of divine beings. And our religious preconceptions make us totally unable to fully grasp the truth, and we rush to find a truly mystic rationalization based on our own unworthiness. That is, we, the chosen ones, the created, were not able to live up to what had been given to us. Now, I read that first part because in here, if you paid attention, you can see that, like us, maybe larger, maybe smaller, we know that supposedly the Anunnaki is bigger than the custodians. The custodians pretty much look like us, more beastly heaven bearers. Okay. Now, the Book of Giants, the Watchers, Nephilim, and the Book of Enoch. That was where was it at? In Antarctica. I've got to see if I can find the latitude, longitude, the degrees. There is a thing from pictures that were taken, whether by YouTube, spy plane, or whatever, mapping, that if you go to the certain longitude and latitude, there is actually a face, a giant head. I told you about the Titans are real. In the snow on the mountain. I mean, a face, people. And you can see the military bases around it. Obviously, they're not destroying it like they did so much here. All right, the Book of Giants, the Watchers, Nephilim, and the Book of Enoch. I'm going to see if I can find it. Can't always find everything. All right. Chapter 16. Yeah. And at the death of the... Remember, this is by Joseph Lumpian. This is the Watchers, Nephilim, and the Book of Enoch, right? So, excuse me. And at the death of the giants, spirits will go out and shall destroy without incurring judgment. Coming from their bodies, their flesh shall be destroyed until the day of the consummation, the great judgment in which the age shall be consummated over the watchers and the godless, and shall be wholly consummated. I would read Matthew 8:28. I'm not into the New Testament, not at all. But there are secrets in there. There are little puzzles that you could probably pull out of it. So if you want to read it, Matthew 8:28, I'll read it. And when he was come to the other side into the country of the Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? Now remember, there's a gene that makes you want to worship, but there are some stories that may be pragmatic to something. But you know there's a lot of perversions. Once they get to writing stories and they use it as a weapon, they continue to further fabricate and make things so fabulous. But there's nothing new under the sun. It isn't as if it hasn't been done, or if it's being done, the information is not new. And now as to the watchers who have sent you to intercede for them, who had been in heaven before, say to them, you were in heaven, but all the mysteries of heaven had not been revealed to you, and you knew worthless ones. And these in the hardness of your hearts you have made known to the woman, and through these mysterious women and men work much evil on earth. Say to them, therefore, you have no peace. And that's enough of that. Why am I reading this? Because as you saw in that book, the previous, right? They're like us. They can die, semi-immortal. Doesn't that mean we lived thousands of years? And that was removed. But who removed it? But they want you to believe some God. See, creative creation, when it says when you look into the mirror, you look into your brother's face, you see the face of God. The thing is, there are those who are perverse and don't know all the secrets. They're compelled, and they don't even be aware of it. It wouldn't matter if a million people told them that you're compelled to be stuck on stupid. They have done enough to convict themselves and to, how do you say it, slamming the gavel down, the fake judge, convicted themselves. So, just good information. And the next time we'll get into Genesis and all that, which I do like to read that. Okay? Let's get into exposing the expositions of 1851-1950. Now remember, we're dealing with buildings and structures that were blown up, destroyed, For what purpose? Who would take some people who don't know nothing and put them to the task and then show them how to do it and hide all information and then have so many wars and sacrifices to start changing the narrative? And then before you even know the truth, passed down to rewriting histories and educate the youth to make them blind to the parents working so hard to not know what they're learning, to question what is this nonsense. And the ones who have, well, you can probably read stories about that. Anyway, this is going to be Exposing the Expositions, 1851 and 1950, revised edition 2021 by Howdy Mikowski of his 2019, when the fake demic kicked off. Now, I showed you the picture of San Francisco 41 days after the quake. There ain't no way in the world an earthquake does this kind of damage with them grand buildings that stood there and were still standing, some in the very middle. And you could tell that it was an air explosion because the structure in the very middle is still standing. That looks like a capitol, but everything around it has been laid to waste. Remember? That is a real picture. And who's taking it and from what? Blimps. I told you that we flew. We got over to the odd Agassiz statue at Stanford University just after the quake, and we see one of the statues that tumbled head first. Now, these statues are new. They're not the originals to the zoology building that was there. Okay? That was changed for the World's Fair. Now, see, the building's still standing. That's not the one in the middle there. Okay? So remember that. This photo above is a statue damaged in the earthquake. This photo is above is of a statue damaged in the earthquake. What are the odds a statue could crash through the stone street like this? That street is stone, people. This is very clearly a staged photo. Why? What is the message? The statue is Louis Agassiz, who was a key professor of biology and geology at Harvard University from just after his arrival at the U.S. in 1847. See, that was a new statue. Until his death in 1873, he was also the founder of the Museum of Comparative Zoology and was one of the first scientists to claim that there had been an ice age on Earth. He was most famous for being the staunch resistor to the theories of Darwin's evolution. It was why he lost his credibility with the scientific community just before his death. Science buried him and his ideas just the way the statue is depicted. A key in the photo is that word zoology. Above the door is clearly centered in the shot. Symbolically, it is saying that Agassiz had been burying his head in the sand, as anyone else also not believing in Darwin or holding, and we know that Darwin was purely theory and a nutcase, or holding to religious ideas about this reality. Symbolism personified. For the Masons, you know what that means. So why do this after a city-destroying earthquake? Would not everyone have much more to do with basic survival than how to dig out a street to make a symbolic photo? Again, it is hard to know just what was going on in April of 1906. A researcher from StalinHistory.org, Menlo 66, located a series of documents from 1906 that can be seen on the sfmuseum.net website. So that's SF Museum, S is in Sam, F is in fast, museum.net website. Without going into all the details here, the basic overview is that a series of Army Corps engineers, as usual, were using dynamite on buildings just after the earthquake. It describes the days April 18th and 19th when buildings were blown up far enough ahead of the fire to avoid feeding the fire with flying embers and to effectually stop the fire for lack of fuel by cutting a broad open belt ahead of the fire. So this is claiming, well, you know what that is. You know those guys who they call them, what do they call them? They had a movie about it. They go out and they make a swath so that way they can stop the fire from jumping. I forget what they call those individuals. Anyway, fire with flying embers and to effectually stop the fire for lack of fuel by cutting a broad open belt ahead of the fire. This is claiming that buildings were being blown up on purpose to stop the fire from, destroying the buildings. That sounds odd. He then provides the name of all the brave men involved in the operation and that they should be given special commendation by the military for their service on these days. Yeah, I wonder how they're doing now since they're back in the source. Probably not happy though. Is this true or simply just a very nice explanation to explain the ruins of buildings that could not be explained by simple fire alone? Or were or were buildings dynamited without there having been a city fire? A second letter found at the sfmuseum.net site sent from Benj 1 Wheeler of the University of California to President Taft on July 24, 1906, discussing a different letter sent by UOC Professor H. Morse Stephens asking to see the complete report by General Greeley. Wheeler's letter states, "Dear Secretary Taft, the enclosed letter implies a request which I deem reasonable and worthy. Professor Stephens is a first-rate historical scholar and, withal, a man of rare tact and good judgment. He is making up the story of the disaster. He is making up the story of the disaster and its relief as a sample of the proper type of historical investigation. You can trust absolutely to his discretion and wisdom. Faithfully yours." So, what exactly is this letter suggesting regarding Stephens making up the story of the disaster? Does that mean that he is working on documenting the moment by moment details for posterity? Or that he is in charge of making it up, as in fabricating a false narrative or story? It is speculation based on the wording of the document, but I thought it needed to be added to this examination. Now, I'm going to show you San Francisco, 1909. In this, you're going to see San Francisco, supposedly rebuilt. This is supposed to be a picture of San Francisco 1909. And 2 years worth of work. Now, we know that one or two of these buildings would take longer than that. This earthquake that did this was supposed to be 1906. Now, is this picture actually before the dynamiting and destruction? Is that one of our old grand cities? For all they do is rewrite the narrative and change to suppress the truth, because there is importance who you are and what you are. And you must not never know any of that. All right? Oh, sniggle, sniggle. Heaven Bearers, the Great Reset of 1834, and the Mud Flood. I'm going out, my boy over there, he says, "Red, I got the bean burrito." I'm going to get me a bean burrito. Shut up. Made with masa. Not master, masa. Chapter 21. Taliwa. Yeah, okay. Heaven Bearers, the Great Reset of 1834 and the Mud Flood. Janine Helen. There she is in South Africa. Oh, what's wrong with people, man? They can't just hold on, bro. Good reading, too. So yesterday we let off at, "I'm not going to kill you, monster. You will have your day in front of the council, and you will be punished accordingly for your crimes." She tells him arrogantly and starts to fight him. So chapter 21, Kiss Me. Kismet is physically strong. He is much stronger than Bonnie, but she has the kind of rage that he could never understand. This makes her stronger overall, and she knows it. It makes her more confident, which is something that she needs to feel in order to distract her from reality. He climbs out of his Tartarian body and reveals his true form. He reminds her of Azrael. He has that same look of evil in his eyes, although he is smaller in size and looks more like a snake than a lizard. Now, I shared a video with some of my brothers of this guy going to rob this person, and something comes out of it. And I went and looked up all the information I could on it. Supposedly, it's kind of real. I think I shared it on here. Anyway, although he is smaller in size, he looks more like a snake than a lizard. His eyes are an awful orange color, and his pupils are very big and as black as a moonless night. She feels sick looking at him and wonders how something so ugly can exist. "You are no match for me, little girl," he says as he leaps forward and he smacks her around to the ground. She lands awkwardly and he tries to stomp on her head and crush it like a watermelon. She rolls out of the way and picks up a small piece of rock and hits him perfectly in the right eye. "Ah!" He groans and starts rubbing his eye. He is big and clumsy, and for the first time, this is to his disadvantage. He realizes this now, but it is too late for him to change back into the Tartarian body. Bonnie is briefly distracted by another patch of moving ground, and he manages to get her in a strong chokehold. He lifts her off of the ground, and she tries kicking at him, but her legs swing helplessly in the air as she struggles to get away from him. She lets her body go limp, and as he tightens his grip, she turns her body 180 degrees and is suddenly facing him full on. "Hello, beast," she says with a smile and headbutts him hard and sticks her thumbs into his eyes. He drops her immediately and reaches out his hands to grab at her, but she is too quick this time. She grabs the biggest rock that she is able to lift and she swings it at his head. There is loud clonks, and Kismet is lying motionless on the floor. He lands with his head on a sharp rock, and he is knocked out cold. But he is not dead. "Tree of life, I have another one for you," she says, and proceeds to find the next creature behind her. It is Baird, and he stays in his Tartarian form. He is filthy and angry, and he storms at her like a wild animal. She leaps out of the way, but he manages to grab her by the arm, and he breaks it with one easy twist. She screams out in pain and tries to pull away from him as hard as she can. He pulls her in close, gives her a twisted smile, and then lets her go. She falls back quickly and hooks her foot on a rock. She loses her balance completely and hits her head hard against a big boulder. That hadn't broken up until smaller pieces when it fell down into the underneath. She tries to move, but she can't feel her body at all. She can hear footsteps approaching her and a loud rumble. There is dust falling all around her, and it makes her cough as it mixes with the little bit of air that is in the underneath. She closes her eyes suddenly and knows what is happening. The rest of the ground from above has broken loose and is piling down onto them. It gets pitch dark suddenly, and she can't breathe at all. Her lungs fill up with sand, and she doesn't fight back. "Malcolm," she thinks, and imagines that he can hear her wherever he is. Cassiel and Mira managed to lead. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Cassiel and Mira managed to lead almost all of the resistance to safety. Unfortunately, some fell behind and were swallowed up by the ground as they were trying to escape. Bonnie couldn't stop it and didn't want anyone to die. But there are always casualties in war. Something is wrong with Mother, Emil says, and he looks into the distance. The mountains are starting to shake softly, and small stones fall down from the top, and they cover their heads to shield themselves from getting hurt. A small rock hits Cassiel on the side of his face, and he starts to bleed. Ouch, he says, and wipes away the blood. Can you see anything, Emil? Can you see her? He asks, genuinely concerned about her. Amelia starts to cry, while Emil shakes his head in sorrow. Father is dead, and Mother has just joined him, he says, and takes his sister into his embrace. It cannot be. Cassiel walks past him and stares at the massive dust cloud that is present over the gaping hole in the ground. The prophecy. The prophecy was clear. She was going to save us and restore the Tartarian Empire to its former glory. The prophecy is wrong, Emil shouts back at him. Have you really not realized this by now? You were supposed to marry my mother, and she was going to bear your child, but she didn't, did she? He is angry, and he lashes out harshly at him. I am sorry, Cassiel. He walks over to him and shakes his hand respectfully. No one expected this. No one wanted this ending. He proceeds to say without sorrow, and it takes over his entire expression. Cassiel places his hand on his shoulder, like a father would to his son, and gives it a gentle but firm squeeze. They share a moment together, and the lightning forming and crackling in the sky ends it quickly. The war is not over, and we will win, Cassiel says as he throws the staff of the elders towards Emil, and he catches it. With one easy, swift motion, his pale blue eyes sparkle, but they do not turn bright in color like that of his mother or father. Emil looks up towards the canopy and smiles at the thought of his parents, knowing that they are finally back together and can spend all eternity with one another, exactly as reality, not destiny, would happen. He takes a deep breath and watches the staff light up and stares directly out ahead of him as Azrael appears from the dusty pit underground. Come on, beast, I am ready for you, he says, and both Amelia and Cassiel appear at his side, ready for the most intense battle of their lives. It will be up to the three of them to stop him, and they know this. Anticipation is gonna make your behinds wait. Bedtime with Red Wolf reading. I love it. Let me go ahead and take this off of here. I'll put it all up in my face now. Okay. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Anybody else come in here? And Black Wild India, what's going on? All right. 3 books, awesome reading. I appreciate that. Okay, I read all that. Okay. Can't wait to read them. Well, get to reading them. Organs by Stolen. I'm going to be reading them again anyway. Herbo, what's going on, brother? Serious. Earth system, dome, Earth, and its own suns and moons. Exactly. Interdimensional. We are low frequency, heavy matter beings. There's no gravity, which is the theory. Only other beings low frequency. Yeah, exactly. Raise your frequency, you become faster and lighter. Exactly. And we can fly. We are light beings trapped in solid bodies under low. Actually, we're not trapped in them. The body is actually energy as well. Everything about us is energy. How do you say it? Our light and our body, they complement each other. They don't compromise each other. They complement each other. That's why it's so important to poison the water, to poison the air, to have the 808s and the 440 hertz, the gigahertz, and all this other stuff. But that shouldn't mean nothing. We must elevate ourselves. And those Inky's father? Yes. As far as that story. And they're different ones. That's why it's good to read all and put the puzzle pieces together. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing divine about the Anunnaki. They're a war race. And could we illuminate the Anunnaki? Could we make the Illuminati, or not make, but could the Illuminati be as to the Ashkenaz? You know what I'm saying? Let me see that. Let me replaying as a discuss. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll find out. You know what I'm saying? We don't know yet. You know what I'm saying? What was that? I just scrolled all the way down. Excuse me. My apologies, people. somebody got some. Go ahead. Yes, yes, we can. Listen to this with just a thought. Yes, we can. Hey, Evelyn, what's going on? Backstabbers. Yes, we do, and we'll deal with them in time. Trust me, they're being dealt with now, and they don't even know it. And I ain't talking about all this stuff like Sarah the Great and all these other individuals talking all that stuff. People don't even know how to read themselves. So how can they read all that out there? If that stuff has something to do here, metaphysically, then it's going to do what it's going to do. We've got to do our part, and that's why I don't pay attention to a lot of those individuals. Trace of radiation is probably still there in San Francisco. Maybe, maybe not. It's radon right up underneath us. But the thing is, it really doesn't mess with us. Hey, but not in San Francisco, yeah. Research it. Fire jumpers, that's right. The tier 1 operators of fire, and they go in, and we know we lost 13 about 8-9 years ago, and they go in and they clear a swath, burn it, trees, all kind of stuff, and it's controlled fire. And then once that's out, the fire can't jump and keep going, destroying 8 more acres. Yeah, smoke jumpers. Yes, exactly. Fire jumpers, smoke jumpers are the same, one and the same. Making up Stephens is in charge of narrating a false that. It's secure occurs. What's happening? Those false narratives. Yes, always. Oh my goodness. And we've got to really do the work to cut through it. It's like it's phenomenal at the same time, though. Pretty good. Appreciate it. Well, it's good to see that y'all communicating. I thought it was to me. I appreciate that, though. Niptines, right? And need the names of a good book about the tribes across the U.S. Honestly, you would have to really dig. Not too much. I can't really say go to the Library of Congress anymore, but there are sources. The only issue is they hit a lot of ours because they want to make our people non-existing. Now, somebody was pointing out something, and let me see if I can pull this up. Somebody was saying that you can go to this site. This is a while ago. I think somebody was saying that I read, other people are talking about it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, bro. Not being disrespectful or anything, but there's a site, and it is based upon the Bureau of Land Management. And you can go into that, and you can put in, I think you can look for, what is it? There's different tabs or something like that. And if you go into like search by locations, no, I think it's if you go in there and you search by the documents or whatever the smack, you're supposed to be able to, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see. It's really crazy. All right, so you're supposed to be able to go in there and what happened? And you're supposed to be able to go to miscellaneous location land descriptions, and I believe it's in patents. All right, so this is what it looks like. As you can see, I've got quite a few stuff. I had to go back a little ways. So this is what it looks like, and I never utilized it. I've kept it up there. You can see as information. It's down over here, and I've got plenty of info. Y'all know me. Thousands up there open. So the Bureau of Land, Management, and then that one down there that says miscellaneous, and you put in whatever information you should be able to, and it's going to give you a plethora of tribes that you don't even hear of. All right, so U.S. Department of the Interior, Bureau of Land Management. So you got location, you put in your city, your county. You want to be able to, you don't, and you go to patents. Don't go to LSR because you're just going to do what state you're in. It's going to naturally pull it up based on the because when in your phone or whatever, or your computer, if you have your Gmail, what is it called? If you have your friggin' what you call it turned on, it's gonna pull up just where you're at. What the hell is that called? Your maps thing. If your maps thing is on location, it's just gonna pull up where you're at. But you want to go into that patents, and then you want to put in where you right now. I got Alabama in there. Well, actually, that's what came up was on it. And then you put in your first name, last name, middle name, okay? Or you put in your grandma, your great grandpappy, or your great greats. If you have those names like I do, you put those in there, and then you put the township. Like mine's Old Town, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and you put the range. You don't have to put that in. Meridian, you don't have to put that in. Section, don't have to put that in because you don't know. You want to find some things. And then you go over to the land office, and this is the miscellaneous part, and it says tribe. Any tribe, militia, NA. Geo name, mining claim, NA, not applicable because you don't know. Documents, you don't have any. So you want to find these things. So once you put that information, then you hit search. And it should be able to pull up a smack load. Now, you can go and hit glossary, but glossary is not going to give you anything. I mean, if you want to go into a further research and hit glossary and go on the Glow records and about our documents and all that stuff, then you can do that. But once you put that information in, you hit search patents, you're going to pull up a whole smackle. All right. Now, you can hit the bottom part and maybe be able to find some stuff as far as California General Web Project, California State Archives, BLM, California State Office, and stuff like that. It's up to you. All right. And there are other sites you can utilize too. The information is there, and you can say tribes that no longer exist if you want to Google as far as information. The tribes of North America that no longer exist. And there are books that have tribes that have, that don't well, let's put it like this. In Louisiana, Mississippi, the Bayou area, right? I had told people that I had read this book, this newspaper, based on 1778 or 88, about the pygmies, the Twa of Louisiana. And everybody said, you crazy. And it was called the Louisiana Gazette, or 1800s, whatever. And it's there. And I showed the article. I shared it on Facebook. I shared it on here as a post. And this is a while ago. And they were like, what, bro? And I said, you can do more like that. It's like microfiche, but it's all digitized now. You just got to think keywords, and you'll pull it up. You'll find it. Okay? I've got a ton of information, and to go through it, I'd just be having a headache. Trust me. Really, Battalions Disguise, yeah. The book, The One World Tartarians, Black and White, The Great Civilization. It's a really good book, too. Awesome. Oh, the fighting, right. I know, don't it? Right? Oh, appreciate you, Sakura. Isn't it? I love reading. I really do. And that sounds like a little thing, like a little water in my eyes, and everything like that. Who's that? Contact Catherine. Who's Catherine? She can help you obtain the documents. Who's that? Sue. Who's Catherine, hon? I know you're talking about what's the name, but yes, the locator. Yeah, the maps, Google Maps. The locator. You got to turn it off, but you turn it on when you want to look. Your girl in Cali. Oh, the one over here, the one that just got the land, who was actually living off the Section 8 and stuff, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. She actually won, you know that, right? I can't wait to see it comes of that. I have to go back and make sure the notifications are on. And they were trying to rob her, but she knows she's Aboriginal. She knows she's of origin. And see, that's what I'm saying. These bastards, and the majority of them, their parents came over in the 1920s and 40s, and a lot of them came over in that damn 1990s. I'm dead serious. And 2000. And they believe their voice is bigger than ours, and it is not. Their voices are nowhere near as big as ours. They don't have the voice we do. The thing is, our people don't speak as one. And then I looked at them damn natives over there, and they're not part of the two distinct races of people here. Over there with the Vatican, with his lying, pedophile, no good, stinky, nasty ass, putting the war bonnet. And I was grateful for that one from Canada, though she was kind of retarded. Said some stupid shit, and I was like, bitch, you ain't speaking for us. See, because we're so busy worried about getting the BBL and What weave we gonna put on the head? That low frequency, low energy stuff. I was upset when Tasha Zeeks or whoever was, not to be putting her on the mark because I like the work she does, but talking about it's all right to put weave in your head and all that dumb shit, not understanding the truth. See, this is what happens when people don't know certain things and they speak on things they shouldn't be speaking on. And it's very important to never put false things in your head, to never allow it to close your head off with weave. That's why all these sisters and brothers getting it too, are running around half crazy. And then I saw some brothers who get their little white outline around their thing. I said, what is that? What is that effeminate ass? And they don't know why they acting crazy. You know what I mean? But yes, I appreciate all of y'all coming in. It's always nothing but love and respect. Excuse my language. I really don't like cursing in the wee hours of the evening. And I appreciate everybody coming in. To my beautiful sisters, I have no hat on. to my love for you all. And to my brothers, you already know it's 2. I can't do the eyebrow. 2 on the 1. I'm going to catch you guys later because I'm going to get this damn bean burrito and I'm going to tear it up. Baba Ration just hit me to go and watch one of his analyses. Not doing it. I love and respect him. I'm going to give him a like, but I ain't watching it. I support everybody, but I just can't watch that. It's nothing to gain from it. I believe if you're going to have material, have something people can gain something from. You know what I mean? You know, we have to seek truth out. And I don't mean outside of us. It is in us. Everything is in us. Every single bit of information. We can see beyond what we see. We can hear, we can control beyond what we've been led to believe. No more self-persecution. Nothing but more veneration to enlightenment. Oh well. Anyway, y'all have a grand evening. All right, Mr. Nelly. Y'all have a grand evening. Thank you again.